was young. I was like, I wasn't sure if my words had value or what I thought had value. I think I was nervous to like, to make waves or like to shake things up. But I think it's really important to try everything. You never know what you'll like.
Welcome to the Finally Podcast. I'm Dan Fisher, here with a very special guest, Kayla Bilal, our marketing coordinator. I'm excited to be talking with you, Kayla, and here's why.
Yes, tell me.
Kayla started here as an intern,
Hmm.
and we've had a lot of success with interns in recent years. And I'm sure much of it has to do with us actually paying attention to our interns.
Yes.
But I wanted to talk with you a little bit about how you recall your time as an intern,
Hmm.
and what maybe you did to make sure that you stuck around afterwards,
Yeah.
But let's take it back. Let's just
Mhm.
start with, why Bottle Rocket? Why intern for us?
Oh, that's such a great question. Honestly, it just kind of fit with everything that I wanted to do. I really was into like being creative. I wanted to do social. And initially, I know I didn't start out doing that, but it was just a really great fit for me. You guys had all of these really cool videos, and I was inspired. I was like, let's do it. I'm ready to go all in. And then when I got here, and after my first day, I think it was really came down to just the people and the work culture that I started to get involved in. I was like, wow, this is a really great space. Everyone's super kind, everyone's supportive, um, very eager to help me grow to become my best self. So, yeah, it was all of those things.
All right, let's talk about that because I've had more failures with interns than
Hmm.
successes.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of it for me, first of all, because we're a small shop,
Yeah,
a big part of it is bringing on the right interns.
right.
But what are some things that we did that really helped you feel supported and also allowed you to learn while you did the work?
That's a good question. I think for sure it was encouraging me to speak up and like let my voice be heard. I remember like one of my first days, I was in a meeting with you and Tamika and Brett, and I was a little intimidated because I was like, okay, I'm an intern. So I was really anxious, a little bit nervous, and I was like writing notes, like being kind of quiet. And I remember Brett was kind of like, Kayla, like, we want to hear you speak. We want to hear you say things. Like, please, like, feel free to um, add anything you think is necessary to the conversation. So I think that was really helpful too. And it just kind of snowballed into everything, like wanting to hear me talk and wanting to hear my point of view. I think it gave me a lot of confidence in my abilities. It was just everyone was on board with helping me become my best self. So I don't know. I think it was just having conversations for one, supporting me in my efforts, and just being there when I had questions.
You lived up to the task.
Thanks.
You hung in there.
Yes.
With our brutal hazing of interns at Bottle Rocket Media, you managed to make it through, and you stuck it out for, I want to say, just under a year
Hmm.
before we had you join the team full time. I'm really curious. Uh, to me, that's a success story, right?
Right.
We met you, I think, through Indeed.
No, it was
Um,
LinkedIn. LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
Hmm.
So you applied for the internship via LinkedIn,
Hmm.
complete stranger to
Yes.
us. You passed the test at every step of the way. Uh,
Mhm.
I'd be curious to know before, during, or perhaps future,
Mhm.
how you're defining success.
Oh, wow. That's a great question. Defining success, I think is just, I think it's evident in like your work. I think for me, it always helps to have outside validation. It's really nice when like you or Tamika or Brett just says like, great job. I think that really helps. But for me personally, I think it's just knowing that I come in every day and I'm doing the best that I can and working the hardest that I can. That's what success is for me. I feel like in these past couple of months, I've really been able to show my progress and show like how much I've grown. And I think it shows in my work. I think I'm more detailed. I think I'm more, how do you say? I think detailed is a good word, but just more thoughtful in my work and more thoughtful in what I say and how that comes across to clients and how that comes across in meetings. So yeah, I think it's really just okay, so I guess it all boils down to the confidence that I have in myself, I would say. That's how I really define it.
Yeah, and I think the word that you're looking for there is present,
Yes.
right? Once you're confident in what you're doing, you're able to really be present
Yeah, for sure.
with your task, with your job, with whatever you're
Mhm.
doing, because you're not worried, you're not insecure about getting it right, doing it incorrectly, whatever it is.
Right.
You know what you're
Exactly.
doing. And I think the nice thing, as much as I want to give myself and the team credit for your success, I think the really nice part is you already knew what you were doing
Yes.
before you started working with us. We
Hmm.
just happened to be lucky enough to connect with you at the right time.
Yeah.
What do you think? What made you stay with Bottle Rocket?
I think what really made me stay was first, like I know I've touched on this, but it's just how much I got to learn. I think in a small startup, you get to be in so many different, like, or explore so many different avenues. So for a while, I was editing on Riverside. I never knew what Riverside was before I came here. And that kind of helped me have a different creative eye. And then I was behind the scenes doing social. I was in front of the camera doing social. I got to be in meetings with really big clients. So then I got to learn that. And I think it's just not something you get everywhere. Not a lot of people take the time out to really teach you how to do these things, and I feel like Bottle Rocket did. And on top of that, everyone's really nice. I really enjoy my time here, like talking with my immediate coworkers and people that are on other teams and having regular conversations, work conversations. I think it's really important to enjoy where you work and enjoy your team and the people that you work with. And I got that here. And that's also very hard to come by. So, yeah, I think it was a combination of those things.
That makes me happy to hear.
Yeah,
I don't want to say I didn't know it, but also it's always nice to know
to
that
hear
everyone's
it.
getting along and happy. And
Yeah,
also, this isn't a quarterly review, so you don't have
right.
to be so nice. Um, how much do you love data?
Ooh, not a lot, honestly. I've come to like it, but do I love it? No.
Okay, when you got a degree in marketing and you pursued a career in marketing,
Yes.
did you anticipate data playing such a large role in your job?
No. Initially, to be truthfully honest, when I got into marketing, I was like, I like to be creative. What can I do that's like business plus creative? Because I was initially I initially went in for business. And I was like, marketing seems like that. Like, in all the movies that you see, all of the really cool people do marketing and they're like designing magazines and like, they're journalists and they're all super cool and fly. So I was like, let me do that. And then I got into it and it was like, well, what do the numbers look like? And I was like, oh, that's a huge part of it. Um,
Right.
so to answer your question, no. I was expecting it to be fun and cool and chill, and like I was gonna make creative decks and present and all of that. But the numbers are what really matters. The numbers drive everything. So it's been a pleasant wake up call for how much
Pleasant.
data is in.
Okay. Definitely a wake up call.
Surely a wake up call.
So it's what you expected of your career
Hmm.
versus what it is.
Hmm.
So I'm going to just walk us through it again. What did you expect you would be doing, and what is your day to day?
Okay. I expected um I feel like I expected to be really creative. So I was like, okay, I'm going to make presentation decks. I'm going to have meetings. I'm going to talk to people. So somehow that was my big focus. Um Day to day, I am for one, social media is a lot of what I do. It's not everything. I do a lot, but that's data too. It's followers, it's engagement, it's click through rate, it's all of the things. And so that whole thing is data. And then when we're talking, when we're having these meetings and stuff, that's all the clients ask. So what do our numbers look like? How many keywords are ranking in the top 10? All of this stuff is like what they really care about. They care less about it's important, but they care less about how everything looks or comes about. It's really the big hard numbers. Um, so yeah, my day to day is I write blogs, I do client calls, I work with my immediate team and talk to them every single day and collaborate on social stuff. I film social stuff or take part in it. You might have seen my face. on many a social media video. Um, I do
Yeah, you're
youth
not shy.
presentations. Well, yeah, I couldn't be. Because I think initially I was like, okay, guys, let's do social. But at the time, you guys were a little bit shy. So I
Yeah,
was like, well, I can do it.
yeah, for sure.
um,
Talking about leading by example.
yes. So I was like, guys, if I can do it, so can you. um, so I had to really become, it's really funny you say that too, Dan, because I'm actually a pretty, like, my family would always label me as a pretty shy person. I would say I'm pretty shy, but I think once I got, especially in my last role before this, I was also running a social media account. That was my only job. I didn't do anything else. So I had to be front facing. I had to be in front of the camera. And now here too, it just kind of spilled over a little bit. But yeah, I don't know if that answered your question. I hope it did. If
No,
not,
it did. It did. What I think is interesting about it is you had no idea what a marketing career was when you
yeah,
graduated, right?
exactly. Hmm.
And I can relate to that because when I left film school, um, I only thought I knew what directing was.
Yeah.
You know, I only had an idea of what producing was
Hmm.
compared to how I felt 1 year later. It's a well worn path by many people who
Hmm.
graduate school and think they're going to do one thing, and maybe it's the
Yeah.
rosier version of that one thing,
Hmm.
or versus just making a pivot right out of school and thinking, thinking for 4 years you're going to study X and wind up
Right.
doing Y. That's the real challenge with undergrad school, I think.
Yes, I agree. I mean, even too, SEO has become such a huge part of my career, and I had no idea what SEO even was. Like,
Right.
I mean, now I'm at the point where I could tell anybody what SEO is. My friends are like, "What do you do, Kayla?" And I mention SEO so much because it's so a big part of my career, and they're like, "What is that?" And I can finally really explain it and come from a place of knowledge. But that's just one example of like you just never know. Um, what your career is going to look like, especially in marketing, because I feel like it has so many different facets. There's so many different, like, marketing is such a blanket term. There's so many different things that you can do within it. So yeah, it is a shock. It's surprising, but I think it was a good surprise. I think it really helped me to grow as like just having multiple things in your resume, it's great. Like it helped me to really grow as a professional. I can now say that I've done all of these things. I can say that I know what SEO is, and I can say that I've done social, and I can say that I've done, all of the different variations. But yeah, it's been a good surprise, a shocking but good surprise.
Take those experiences and
Hmm.
maybe give some advice to someone who's a year or two behind you looking for a job or in a
Hmm.
career or in a job that they didn't expect.
Yeah. My advice, don't be afraid to try, I think. Oh God, sounded so corny, but I think it's a big thing. I think, at least for me, I was nervous. I was young. I was like, I wasn't sure if my words had value or what I thought had value. I think I was nervous to like do anything, like, to make waves or like to shake things up. But I think it's really important to try everything. You never know what you'll like, or like you said, you were talking about pivoting. Like, I could have tried editing and been like, actually, I want to be an editor. But that wasn't my particular path, but that could be yours. For me, I think having a personality, showcasing who you are, is really important too. Um, it's really important to like create these connections with the people that you're working with. I think that holds a lot of longevity just as much as how hard you work. So I think connecting with others, don't be afraid to try, and work really hard and do your best in everything that you can.
Yes.
It sounds very cliche, I know, but unfortunately it's the truth, guys. Unfortunately.
In my house, we say keep going,
Yes.
right? And
Hmm.
you have to do more than just show up,
Yeah.
but showing up is a big part of it. Being
Hmm.
consistent, showing up, giving your all, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? What I would add to that is you have to show up with an idea. You have to show up ready to think. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? You have to show up ready to engage.
Yeah.
Showing up on its own will get you in the door, but it won't keep you in the door. And I
Yes.
think that's what I've really admired in the work that you've done is you've shown up and you've continued to be critical, to
Hmm.
think, outside the box to really engage us and force us to look at things from a different perspective.
Yeah, well, thanks, Dan, first off. But yeah, I would agree. I think it was like I got here in February and we just got a notification actually that we started TikTok March 1st. So it must have been in the first 2 or 3 weeks of me being here that I was like, guys, I think we need to like elevate our social media. And like I said, coming from my last job, it was like something that I saw as really important. And I thought um, I was so impressed by you guys' work on your website. And for me, I was like, I feel like this isn't translating to their Instagram and to their LinkedIn and at that point we had not had a TikTok account. And so, yeah, I brought it up to Tamika and I was like, I think we should do this. She was like, write a document and explain why and like give your details. And I did that. And then we just kind of hit the ground running. And it evolved into something. You know, at first, I think you and Brett were hesitant to get in front of the camera. And now we have this podcast that we film every week. And Brett is in, is in a lot of social videos, and so are you. And a lot of people within the company have now become a part of this thing, and it's really great to see. I think it's really important for people that don't work at Bottle Rocket Media to see our personalities because I think they're amazing and people really resonate with them. So yeah, I came in guns blazing. I was like, let's do this, let's start. And it was slow and steady, but it really has blossomed into something really amazing.
What's the question I ask you once a month about TikTok?
You ask me, will it make me money, Kayla? When is this thing gonna start making me money? That is what you ask. And to that I say, for me, initially, it was like a brand awareness thing, right? Like, let's have people see who we are. Because in this day and age, to quote Tamika, social media is the new yellow pages. So in this day and age, it was like, we just have to have a presence, right? I think now as we grow, um, for me, our new social media goals is like how we're gonna get leads from TikTok. So we've been working behind the scenes to like try to figure out ways to bring in actual money from these videos that we're doing and the time that we're taking out of our day. So it's in the works. It's coming. I promise you, it's coming, and we can make money from TikTok.
I've come around a little bit with our social media in general. I
Yes.
agree. It is the yellow pages of our time. And it's nice to have a presence.
Yeah.
And I have had engagement with people because of TikTok.
Oh.
Okay. What's interesting about it,
Uh-huh.
and this won't be a surprise to anyone who's paying attention, is all of those people are too young to be our clientele,
Yes, that's true.
but they won't be forever.
They won't be forever. They're probably in, just like me and you. I'm in
Yes,
rooms with you. They're my age, but they might be in rooms with people that can be our clients.
correct. Something I meant to ask you earlier. Why is your generation in such a rush?
I think it could be a lot of things. I think it's like the way the world's moving, everything's more expensive. Like my mom always talks about her job and how, and this might not be accurate, but it was like, I think her first job was like maybe 30K or something. And she was so excited to have that job. And it, I think at that time, I don't want to age my mother, but at that time, I think it was a lot of money. And now, people are looking for 65K minimum. And, it kind of makes sense because everything is so much more expensive. I think that's one thing. I think also, and I work in social media, so I know, but I definitely think it's the age of social media. I think everyone is showing what there are, what they're doing, their accomplishments, and it could really feel like you're left behind if you're not at the same place as everyone else. Like if someone's like, I just got a new 100K job, and you're like, well, I haven't got hired yet. I just got out of college, still unemployed. Like, for a while, that was me. Like, I was unemployed looking for jobs, but of course, I spent some time on social media, and everyone was talking about, on LinkedIn, congratulations, I got a new position here and there. So I think it's just the culture nowadays. Growing up on social media too, like you're just so used to seeing what everyone else is doing. How can I be like everybody else? Um, and money. It all boils down to money.
Of course, of
Yeah.
course. And I can absolutely identify with, even without social media,
Yeah.
when I was applying for my first jobs, I can absolutely identify with the idea of um, keeping up. Where,
Mhm.
where should I be in relation to other people?
Yeah.
But I don't know that there was anybody of my peers
Mhm.
who thought that they should be the CEO or executive producer or top dog by
Yeah.
the age of 25. I
Uh-huh.
mean, those are not as common. And now when I talk to a lot of people, their expectation is, you know, get out of college and in a couple of years I'll be, running a business or,
Yeah.
be in charge of a bunch of people.
Mhm.
And like, it feels like everybody is in a rush to
Mhm.
be the boss, but
Yes.
forgetting that it takes time to learn what is
Right.
necessary to be the
It
boss.
it does take time. And I think too it's important that you mentioned like it was your peer group, but you have to think about I'm looking at people someone from Nebraska that I don't know. Like and she's my age and doing exponentially better than I'm currently doing right now. I think that plays a role into it too. We're looking at people we don't even know. We might
Right.
feel like we know them because we're connected on social media or something like that, but we don't.
I think you said something interesting there, the woman in Nebraska doing better than you. Right?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that concept, better than,
Mhm.
is a challenge. It's always been there. It isn't new to Gen Z
Yeah.
or social media. I'm sure it's
Mhm.
more in your face with social media. But how are we defining better versus worse?
Mm.
Obviously
Yeah.
everybody's trying to make a living and trying to make money,
Yeah.
and so what is really defining better?
I think for me, and of course I want to preface that social media is not really what it appears to be. People, can present themselves differently, but I think for a personal thing, it could be like maybe she is, like you said, like maybe she is the youngest CEO in a company, maybe, and she's
Right.
25.
Right.
Or maybe she's like, I just got a 100K job and she's 25. Or, like it could be monetary, it could be the position and like the status of the position. Um, Sometimes it's like what clothes they wear to work.
Right.
Like
Right.
she's
Better
wearing a
skin,
Gucci
nicer
bag.
hair, looking
Yeah,
great. The sun
exactly.
is out. I'm
Right.
on a yacht for the weekend,
Yeah, exactly.
smoking. Yeah. So
Mhm.
yes, it's all of it. It's all of it. And like you
Mhm.
said, like social media only shows the best parts of our life. There are
Yeah.
very few accounts
Mhm.
that we follow regularly that are like,
Mhm.
ugh, my life sucks. And the truth
Right.
is, I do follow some of those accounts, and every time
Mhm.
those people pop up my feed, I'm like, nope, not
Yeah,
interested
no
today.
thanks. I don't want the bad
I got
energy.
my own issues to deal with. I don't need
Exactly.
yours. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's important to always keep that in mind. This has been an awesome conversation.
Yes.
I have one more question of you,
Okay.
and that is, what advice do you have
Mhm.
for Generation X and
Okay.
Boomers
Yes.
about using social media to their advantage?
Oh, love this question. Uh, my biggest advice would be to don't be scared to get in front of the camera. I think that's my biggest advice. People want to see who you are. People connect with brands because of who they are now. It's less about um I mean, the work obviously is important. You want to have great work. You want to show all of that. But people want to see you. People want to know you. And it helps with everything. So I think the biggest thing is get in front of the camera, talk to people, like let them hear what you have to say, give them your expertise. Like the biggest thing with Gen X and Boomers is that they have experience that younger people don't have, or a niche experience that people in other industries don't have. Like people want to know all of this. People are eager to learn. Um, that's my biggest advice.
That's great advice. Advice I probably should have listened to about 5 years ago. Anyway, that's it for this episode of the Finally podcast. Kayla, Bilal, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course.